young people are expecting to do their organizing through that method because it was effective. Okay, fine if you get it, but I'm talking to many on that level too. It still allows them, they still are autonomous. In other words, it's like I can do it from my own space and I really don't have to interact with you. You know, and there's something missing in political organizing when you don't interact. What it means is like a Pied Piper syndrome. I'm waiting for my text, or I'm waiting to hear that tune, and then I'll move forward. But sometimes if you are connecting with other people, it empowers you as opposed to empowering the piper. And I'm concerned that that was like a Pied Piper type of organizing where you hear the music, you follow the tune, because they don't really know. I asked some of them, what branch of government is the president?
Right.
You voted? What branch?
You learned that in 8th grade.
They don't know.
Can't get out of 8th grade until you know that, right?
They don't know. Why is that important? I don't need to know that.
I
It's just Barack. I don't need to know that.
8th grade. For Salim, you had a comment?
Well, no, I mean, I think that this really redefines the game.
That's what I'm trying to get with. The game has changed. And that's what I'm trying to say, because I did a YouTube piece, and I want to say of people like us because...
Is it a change or a trend?
No, I think it's a change. Okay. I think the world is totally changed. That's what I'm saying. People like us because I got a whiff of the Black Power days. You actually lived it. This man has really lived it in New York City and Newark and New Jersey. And that's, I hate to say this, don't get me wrong, that's old school.
Yeah, it is old school.
It's old school.
Yeah,
so how do you apply, no offense, Pat and Salim, how do you apply our old school wisdom to new school? My children were born in the 90s. My children were born in the 90s. My dad was born in the 30s. You know what I'm saying? How do we communicate?
Here's an example, man. When people were railing against the word nigger, for example, I had a student who said the only context she had ever heard that word was a term of endearment from Houston.
That's for me. I'm a Richard Pryor baby. I'm from Richard Pryor era, so it never really bothered me. But then again, when I hear rappers use it, it bothers me. I hear Richard Pryor people, it don't bother me, but you hear rappers use it, it bothers me.
But they're using it in the same,
you know
many of them are using it in the same spirit as this sister who was, so I mean, you're right. I mean, there have been some changes in the game.
So I'm saying, how do we organize and communicate in this modern era? It's like other day, like I have to learn texting because my children are getting older because they don't want to talk to me. I'm going to have to text them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. So organizing, we can use your old way. I hate to use, old is such badness. Old is really good, but in this society, old is bad. But I'm saying the old way of doing things is fine, but we got to use a new technology.
There are some things
we have to
in
use a new
life
technology
that there are no substitutes for with all the technology. There are some things that you cannot take a shortcut in, or you can substitute. I'm not saying you got, everything changes. I mean, from the time when I came along, from my mother and father's time, from, you know, I walked 50 miles.
Yeah, but I don't have to go to the record store to buy.
Or I rode my horse to school. My daddy told me he rode a horse to
I'm sorry to cut you off, but and you know what? I don't have to. But listen, you're right, because I don't have to go to the store to buy a record like I did back in the day.
You ain't got to go to the store to buy groceries.
That's what I'm trying to say, though. So it's organized.
But does that make it good?
Well, but things are going to change. So I'm saying, like my children say, Daddy, you from the 1970s, you old, and I have to communicate with them where they are.
I think the greatest advantage we can give our children, and my children are in their 30s now, and so I'm at that point where my son has been, just example, been doing tracks. He's 32, has been doing tracks for rappers since he was 14. But the music that he used was my albums. And then, when I couldn't find, you know, where my stuff, you know, and then the next thing is, you stuck in the 60s. No, I may be stuck in the 60s, but if I wasn't stuck in the 60s, you wouldn't have them albums to make them tracks for them rappers so they can just change around what we said in the 60s.
That's a perfect analogy.
Perfect.
It really is, because that's what we have to do. We have to build on the past in a way that speaks to the future.
I call it the Sankofa effect. I really do, because that's what it is.
Caller, you're on the line. Welcome to Viewpoint Live. Caller.
Oh, how you doing today? How y'all doing today?
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. I was just sitting back, you know, going through thinking, I heard y'all talking about the point of views about, you know, Obama and stuff. I feel that it was a big accomplishment that, you know, we invited the first black president, but at the same time, when he won Tuesday, Thursday, 2 more young, you know, high school students was murdered on the street. All this stuff is going on, you know. What's going to help us in these communities? What's going to help us for stopping our kids from dying every day?
Us.
Yeah, that's why I said we got to help ourselves. Everybody was happy that Obama won. And like I said, it was a big accomplishment.
Right.
You know, but how are we going to adapt the old school, like you said, to the new school? Because our young kids really don't know what really just happened.
I feel you. Thank you, sir.
Part of the new school is that we have to be able to separate a civil rights leader from a president, from a political leader. The old, you know, we expected because we used to think of electoral politics as an extension of the civil rights movement. High, you know, black faces in high places. That was our particular goal. But that was a contingent goal, a goal that we adopted for a specific time. Now it's a new time. We have to understand that all the president can do is marshal resources, and he may have the bully pulpit for this and that, but that's his job, is to marshal resources. Now, if Obama can direct resources into our communities where we have you know, early education programs that proliferate, that will help us. That's what we need. We need jobs in these communities. We need, like, they're talking about infrastructural improvements and green collar jobs and the kind of employment investment that will be necessary to lift us out of this economic depression that we're in right now. And if that happens, then we will see improvement.
I agree. But one of the things is we have to send a message as to, it's like going to the doctor. When you go to the doctor, if you don't tell the doctor where it hurts, you know, how I feel, he is going to ask you some script questions and say, okay, we're going to run these kinds of tests, but he may not disclose exactly what it is because he didn't get any input from you. And I'm saying we the people have to give input to say, hey, this is where it hurts the most. This is where we need to have the most attention. And you use whatever your expertise is to allow us to have that pain relieved or cured, personally cured, because we're in the age, new school, all you do is address symptoms. You don't address cause. And this is because people don't have time. I ain't got time. Hold on. Just take care of that right now. How many pills I got to take? So the point is, when I say that there are some things there are no substitutes for, you want to eradicate, this word, there are two things that he says a lot: change and maturity. See, people don't listen to, because I'm talking to folk, what you getting out of what Barack is saying? Change and maturity. Now, that change piece is a Chicago piece that came out of public housing. If you looked all over when they tore down the developments, them big signs went up. It says CHA in big letters, NGE in small letters. Some of those same people are on his transition team. So they took a concept from here, because a lot of them from Chicago, which means one thing in public housing,
Chicago Mafia, they think is going to be.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to put our own definition on, and it's self-determination. So you can't get past that. And I'm going to stick with this old school, new school.
Keep going.
I don't care if it's new school, old school. Self-determination is appropriate across the board. The formula doesn't change. What the goal doesn't change. Maybe the methodology changes. And my concern is that our young people and a lot of our old people and we as a people never knew what the goal should be, never understood, and don't believe in self-determination. You're going to do something for me? You know, and what is that? To define ourselves for ourselves and not allow ourselves to be defined by others. And that's how you get into creating a community that is strong, that has standards, that has values, and not allow folks to wait and say, okay, this is what is going to be in your community. This is the opportunity. This is 60 stuff. Really? This is 60 stuff. I hate to say it, but this is 60 stuff. But that hasn't changed.
Before I take another caller, I have to say, I speak at schools all the time, and I was speaking at Walter Diet, which is about an easy walk to Barack's house. Literally, Operation Push is over there, and Barack Obama's house is down the street on 51st Street. Walter Diet. And the students know he lived down the street. Some of them did not know he did live down the street. Some of them have seen his house, some people haven't. But what I'm saying, there is a disconnect. You had this mafia, if you will, coming out of Chicago, all these smart people from the University of Chicago, the whole nine, but they have never come to the hood and solve our problems here. So can we expect, that's what I'm trying to get at. And how do we, little old people like you and I and the people at home,
organize and demand.
But see, the thing about organizing,
we have unique links into the Obama operation because of our Chicago connections. You know, some of us have unique links. We have to exploit them as much as we can.
Organizational links? Do we have organizational?
We have some organizational links into his campaign, and so we have to exploit them as much as we can. And we have to, you know, I think. You see, what made the neoconservatives real powerful was after 9/11, they had been designing plans and ideologies for years, and when that happened, Bush fell right into it. It was ready-made for him, and he embraced those already constructed ideas. We have to be serious and assiduous about describing our agenda, and that's in a similar way, and so that when when these new progressive programs have to be instituted for economic stimulus.